Talk about the week that was in politics as Congressman Brian Bilbray, fresh off Washington, D.C. Good morning to you.
Great morning. To be home.
Glad to have you home.
Get to be here the whole week.
Well, I guess it's a new week, but we're still going to be talking about health care reform. Washington, the entire nation buzzing about that last week.
That was quite a hearing, too. 3 days of hearings. And interesting the way everybody tries to second-guess what the Supreme Court justices address. Sadly, no matter how they rule, there's still the issue that Washington hasn't addressed, and that is, how do you pay for all this? How do you make the savings? You know, at a time when everybody realizes the budget is in a squeeze, both in people's homes and their families and at the federal level, there was no real addressing how do we reduce the cost. And the only answer Washington had is force everybody to be pooled into one group, which you know how successful that's been.
Right. Now, the court seemingly didn't care too much for the mandate. It's going to be hard to tell until June. Is that the impression that you got? And if so, if that mandate disappears, it looks like the law's just going to be out there again to play with.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because there was a whole argument made by some that, oh, you'll have mandatory insurance if you want to drive a car or you want to own a car. No, if you want to drive a car on public property, and remember, that is a privilege, not a right. This whole issue of the mandate being justified as comparable to cars means, is it a privilege legally for you and I as American citizens to live on U.S. soil? And I think that's one of the big questions of the fact that how far are you pushing the right of the government to force you to buy stuff and get down the line? And it's the federal government. You know, you got to remember that San Francisco has socialized medicine. They have free medicine. It's one thing for a city to do it, a community to decide among themselves, but to have the federal government mandate the entire continental United States is tied into one system and forced into it, that you don't have a right to live in the United States unless you buy something. That's a big question.
You alluded to the budget just a moment ago, and last week the House passed that spending limit. What does that mean?
Well, I think what's kind of interesting is we had a whole line of different budgets. John Boehner allowed for everybody to basically have their proposals put up there, and one after one they failed. The president's budget didn't even receive one vote. Not one Democrat, not one Republican, not one independent voted for the president's budget, which was really kind of surprising for me, and I think it shocked a lot of people. The budget that passed was one that was in between the extremes, and that was a Paul Ryan budget. And it's kind of interesting. People forget Paul Ryan comes from a very, very moderate district in northern Wisconsin. And he is really trying to put together a plan that guarantees that seniors and those of us that are older like myself are guaranteed the package of Social Security, Medicare we were always promised, but also give some hope to those of you like your age that there will be some Social Security and Medicare there. There will be an option. And what he's proposing for the younger generation, those who are under 54, is that you would have a congressional health care plan and be able to buy into those options and participate in that kind of option.
We were in video when you said your age. You meant Alexis' age, not mine. So.
Oh, come on. You're a youngster, too.
Hey, great surf out there. We wanted to wrap this up, but you're back in town for a week. You're going to get some surfing in?
Well, I don't know. The water's 56 degrees. I'm going to do a little low, but what an awesome picture. I mean, that is the most... This picture is really what you do not want the rest of the world surfers to see is San Diego, because our beaches will be so crowded. But, you know, that's almost a double overhead left going in there. Just absolutely a beautiful shot. Where do we got it?
Dave Scott was in charge of the photo.
We got it?
Can we put it on the weather?
It's on the weather
graphic.
Weather graphic. Can we hit it? Right up there. There we go.
I mean, that is... absolutely
like Hawaii,
awesome. And it looks like somebody's in that. See the peak of the wave where it looks like a cameraman's catching that shot. That is going to go around. That's going to go viral, and it should. That should wake up all of us of why we want to live in San Diego and not in Washington.
You're going to get any in at all this week?
I'm hoping to sneak out. His biggest issue, if I can talk my son into getting wet with me, I'm brave enough to venture in that 56-degree water.
Well, Dave is promising some sunny skies, so maybe that'll help a little bit.
Fantastic. That's
Welcome
what we
home.
need.
All right.
Nice little offshore like that and a little sunny skies, and who can be not tempted?
It's America's finest city.
Absolutely.
Congressman
Thank you
Bilbray,
so much.
Thank you, Brenda.